What else we got then?
Luce, which is Luce, which is based on the stage play by J.C. Lee, who also wrote the screenplay. And I thought this was very interesting. I knew nothing about this at all in advance. Kind of socio-psychological thriller with Naomi Watts and Tim Roth are this liberal American couple whose son, Luce, was adopted from war-torn Eritrea, where he had a really traumatic childhood, child soldiery. He's overcome those traumas to become what is now being held up as a model student. He is skilled at sports. He is skilled at his studies. He is constantly held up as an example to fellow pupils of what a brilliant achievement his life is. Then he writes an essay which raises alarm bells with his teacher, Mrs. Wilson, played by Octavia Spencer, who I think is just great. I think she's great in pretty much everything, which is particularly great here. And she gets in touch with his parents to say, look, I'm slightly worried about Luce. I think that maybe he's having ideas that are not entirely healthy. And also, I found some fireworks in his locker. And they say, well, that's not a big deal. I go, yes, but they are illegal fireworks and they are dangerous fireworks. And what happens is questions start to be raised about whether she is somehow militating against him or what his true character is. And during the court, so the conundrum that is raised is, what is his true character and why is she bothered by him?
Coach Reeves offered me captain.
Whoa. Wow. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's dope. Says I'll be a good example for certain teammates. But between track and debate prep, plus all the extra shit Wilson has us doing.
Well, how do you mean?
Nothing.
You really don't like her, do you?
It's complicated.
Try me.
Okay. You remember Stephanie Kim, right?
Sort of.
Not a clue.
She came over one time last.
Go on.
Anyway, there were these rumors going around about her after this party a few weeks ago.
What kind of rumors?
Oh, people were drinking and no one really knows what happened, but Stephanie got kind of messed up. Then something happened with some guys, then Wilson got involved. And no one really could prove anything, but she kept using Stephanie as like an example, turning her into a victim.
So you can hear from that, it has a sort of a talky quality to it, which I think it is fairly obvious that it is a stage play. And I'm willing to forgive it that, because I think that there is enough about it that is cinematic and makes it more than just a stage play adaptation to put up with the fact that I know obviously it has stage roots. For one thing, Kelvin Harrison Jr., who is the lead, is really, really terrific. I mean, he's really, really good at getting that ambiguity of character that you're introduced to this character and you think you know him, but he's got this very kind of hail fellow, well met manner. He smiles at everybody, slightly too much, maybe slightly ingratiating. But is there something that he's hiding, or is it simply that his teacher is feeling some kind of projection, that she is projecting her own anxieties and her own fears onto him? All of that incident is amplified by the fact that Jeff Barrow and Ben Salisbury's score does a brilliant job of that kind of unsettling, unresolved feeling in the background. Then, as the parents, we have Naomi Watts and Tim Roth, who, of course, in the past played parents in the Michael Haneke's American remake of Funny Games. Although, weirdly enough, the film that this started to put me in mind of, tonally very different in terms of something of the subject matter, is the previous Haneke, Benny's Video, which has got that kind of European bourgeois satire feel about what's
a European bourgeois satire feel? What is that?
Okay, so well, in the case of it's about what a bourgeois family will do to preserve the illusion of everything being fine, underneath which there is a whole bunch of stuff that clearly isn't fine, which is a sort of strong theme of some European strands of cinema, and you can see it in Chabrol, but it's finding its way into this because what it's about is about they have an absolute idea of who their son is. This teacher has an idea of who their son is. The friends who know him have different, and what we see is a kind of kaleidoscopic version of who this character actually may be. And at the centre of it, you have this very, very well played character played by Kelvin Harrison Jr., who is managing to reflect back all those different points of view. And what the film then is doing is constantly wrong-footing what you expect the narrative to do in terms of its racial politics, in terms of its class politics, in terms of its age politics. So it's constantly tripping up. Now, I'm sounding so enthusiastic about it because if you put this next to The Good Liar, and you go, okay, well, one of these films genuinely wrong-foots you. One of these films genuinely makes you question what it is that you think you know about a character. And another one goes, here's what the characters are, guess. Yeah, you were right the first time. And I think this is a much better example of how... I mean, there were times when I was reminded of... You remember Will Smith's performance in 6 Degrees of Separation, which again is that very sort of charming... enigmatic, charismatic, but is there something behind it, or is it a prejudicial thing, or is it that you just don't trust their manner? So in the case of Luce, I thought it did a very, very good job of keeping me constantly guessing. I thought it was well played by the entire ensemble cast, particular standout in the lead, and a terrific soundtrack that kept that feeling of being unsettled all the way through.
Tim Roth. Well, I remember interviewing Tim Roth, and he was fantastic. And then the last time I remember talking about him at length, he was being Sepp Blatter.
Sepp Blatter.
So we've kind of moved on and forgiven him.
In that film, in which the character he's playing actually says, "Look, none of us are in this for the money." I know.
One of the
couldn't
great
make
lines.
this stuff up,
And I'm sure he's moved on.
Yes,
and regretted.
the rest of us certainly have.
Yeah.